What's up, you guys? I hope you all had a great day. Tesla's down another 2.5%. And what we're going to do is talk about this order block that's sitting down here. We're going to talk about Tesla going into earnings and why I do think that after earnings, Tesla will probably be trading back around 240. And if not, if we break $200, why I will definitely be closing out my calls and why I think that we will see Tesla back down at 150 if that occurs. We're going to go over all of that in this video. We're also going to go over a lot of profits that we ended up covering today on a lot of the swing trades that we've been covering on this channel. Covered Oracle on X, covered MU on X. I threw out DraftKings on X. A lot of great trades I threw out over there that was not just Tesla. Tesla's mainly just what we cover here on this channel. So go follow me on X and go check out our Discord community, which is going to be the first link in the description to get access to our trading bots, as well as our courses, seminars, live streams, premium indicators, and much more. So let's talk about Tesla price action first going into today. And we're going to talk first just about order blocks and a little bit about market structure, because while if you're a day trader, swing trader, or if you're a long-term investor, understanding the psychology of not only trading, but of what moves the market is so important, and understanding the structure of what moves the market is even more important. Let's go through and let's just take a look at how Tesla's price action has been for the past year and a half. And I want to bring two points really into play here. The first one is going to be right here where Tesla hit this low. We came down, we went into this lower low back here in August, and basically right here, this candle, which we're going to highlight in a second, this candle here is going to be called our order block. And this is going to be an important little candle because basically this is the final candle where we had that, right before we had that impulse, where we ended up seeing Tesla rip from 214 all the way up to about 270. Price action made a lower low, and then from there we had an absolute massive impulse all the way back up, which, like we said, about 30% in 4 weeks. Now, you have to understand psychologically of what's moving the market here. Think of how many institutions, how many big money institutions we're not talking about people like you and me who can just put $10, $20, $30,000 in a position. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. How many institutions wanted to get in on Tesla around this level, but couldn't because it ended up moving up so quickly? The thing you have to understand with a big hedge fund is they are not undisciplined. If they want Tesla at $220, they are not going to just hit the fucking market button. First of all, they just can't, but they're not going to. They're not undisciplined in that manner. They're going to let their limit orders sit there, and they're either going to let them eventually fill or they're going to remove them off the table. They're not going to be impatient and just hit the buy order button to get Tesla up. If they believe that this is where they should be buying Tesla, then this is where they're buying Tesla, and this is where they're setting all of their orders, okay? Now, this is important because people think that when you see this type of order block, that it means the stock is just going to rip, and it doesn't. Sometimes it can. In this instance with Tesla, it did. What it more so means is that there's a very high chance that at some point in the near future, we will retrace back down to this price level. And the reason we will retrace back down to this price level is because all of those orders are sitting there and all of that demand needs to be met. Because remember, in order for Tesla, you see here on earnings, in order for it to have continued to run, what would have fundamentally had to have happened? We would have had to see more buyers step in than sellers. And if all of the buyers, all the people who can actually move the fucking market, if they're waiting for Tesla to hit $210 and they're disciplined, who is going to step into the market to move it? Nobody's going to step in the market, and that's why it sells off. So we see Tesla sell all the way off back down into 213. At this level here, this could have been your initial time to potentially go long. Now what happens is price bounces in this order block and actually hits a lower low. So now this order block is considered to be negated. But as we hit this lower low, a new order block is formed. Once again, Tesla takes a massive rally off of this low around 194 back in October of 2023. And since we have ran about 35% in 1 month and 4 weeks. Now, something that you don't see here on my screen is that there was another order block that was here because we actually ended up having this lower low that happened. So we broke 233, structure was broken, and this candle here would have been a bullish order block. Now pretend that none of this from January 3rd is here on my screen, that the only thing that we can see is this. What we're expecting, and this is why we were buying March calls a couple of weeks ago, is we were expecting the pullback into this bullish order block, and we are expecting big money to be buying into this for that next rally up. Instead, what happened? We actually came back, we did hit the middle, we did bounce, we test and respect it until we didn't, right? And this is why Mike Tyson says, and it's not trading advice, but like everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. So the next day, we get this drop. Now we know that most of the time, and this is a little more advanced, but underneath of these levels here, we have most of the time what's called a liquidity zone, which means that that's basically just a big area where there's a ton of orders that we'll usually see a push through, and then the liquidity will actually be filled. And if it is filled, we'll get a bounce, which is most of the time what's going to end up happening. And if it's not filled, then we're going to end up seeing a break right through it. And in this case, it broke right through it. Now we're back down into this bullish order block. And what I think we'll probably end up seeing is Tesla continue to move its way, potentially come back down into lows of $200 before earnings at the end of this month. And I do think that we will hopefully see big money buy up into this level, because now that it's coming back into that institutional zone, we should see institutional orders firing, and we should see them pulling the trigger going into earnings. So where does this leave us after earnings? Well, after earnings, if we push up from here, the next level that we're really going to be looking at is going to be back up here at about 265 down to about 252. So this block right here, and I think that at this point, that's where we could probably end up seeing Tesla move back up into middle of February and March up to about $260. And that's why I'm still holding on to my calls, and I'm not really haven't been too worried about what's been happening over the past couple of weeks, because I'm really looking, and I have expected that we're probably going to see the pullback down to 200. Now, with that being said, if Tesla breaks $200, what's going to happen, right? Like a lot of people are asking that, but like what's going on from here? Well, if we just turn the indicator on, but we can see by eye, because you guys know how to draw these now, we came in, made a lower low. This is where our next order block would be, down at $153. Now, the other thing to notice too is that we actually have a gap, a volume gap right here. Now, I know you're probably not gonna be able to see it because it's gray, but we have a volume gap right here. So in most cases, when we have a price / volume gap, and we also have probably fair value gaps down here, and we have an order block, if this level of 200 to 195 is broken, I would more than guarantee and believe, even though I'm a long-term shareholder in Tesla and I'm holding Tesla calls right now for March, I would wholeheartedly believe that Tesla's going to drop at least another 25% to 30% down to $150, $140. And then if $140 is broken, we're moving our way down to 110. But until then, that's definitely not going to happen until earnings, and we'll probably end up seeing this thing continue to sell off and then end up watching the rest of the market buy it up, going into earnings inside of this order block level. Now, in the meantime, I've been trading a ton of other things, right? I know we don't talk too much about them over on this channel, but I do talk about a lot of them on X. I would like to make more videos about them here, but it seems that most people just don't really give a shit about anything besides Tesla on YouTube, and that's fine. Like, it really is. But for those of you who are traders and you do want up-to-date information, the best place is probably to follow me there, and obviously our private Discord community. But let's go through a couple of trades that I have set up, and we'll also go through a couple that I took profits on, because it's going to be really important. You should be able to implement everything that we talk about here into any trading style or any chart that you have, because it's all going to be basics, but it's all going to be very important. So let's talk about Netflix, right? Netflix's first position ended up entering today, posted here on X, said I'm up 14% on my calls, still have a lot more room to run. I posted this within the Discord community for the team today as well, for the private team. So if you guys are a part of the private team, you've obviously saw this in real time, but we ended up closing a lot today. So we'll start with, like we said, Netflix. If we just go over to TradingView and we look up Netflix, you're going to see here we're trading over our market bias. We're trading over that 200 SMA, so we're still in an uptrend. We have this break of structure up here at 500. About 85% of the time, we're going to retrace, pump back up into a higher high, right? So we're just trading with the trend. We're not doing anything crazy. So we get this pullback. We know that risk versus reward's looking good, 2-to-1. In an uptrend, pulled back down to a really good level. Why the hell would we not take this trade, right? Like, I'm not expecting to make money. I'm not sitting here like, oh, why would I not take it? Because I know I'm going to win. No, that's not the case. The reason I'm saying why would I not take it is because it just hits my requirements, right? I'm not focused on winning. If you take a trade just to win, you're going to destroy yourself over time, I'm telling you. So we get this bounce off support right off 480, push up. I'm expecting over the next couple of days to see this move up to 500. Now, classically, target would be up at 505, technically. but I'll be taking my profit probably around 500 bucks. Now, let's talk about some other positions. So we ended up closing out Oracle, which I posted initially on January 12th. Closed that out for a $4,000 profit. This same setup, guys, same type of deal. When I talk about order blocks and whatnot here, but we get this big sell-off, big bounce. This is going to be that order block level that we talked about right about here. We're waiting to see the stock pull back down into the middle of that order block right here. We went long right around 102. First take profit 108, second take profit 116, third is up here. I'm sorry, second would be up at 124, but really I would say that the easy one was through this push at 106. But really closing around this range, and then the bigger one up at 125. We did have a small one at like 106, like a small order block that has been taken out, like right here. Now that that's out and there's no volume here, chances of Oracle running to 114 are pretty high. The reason I closed my option though was just so that I could roll out the position. I had too much money in the trade, right? I ended up starting the trade with like about $11,500. Now the trade's up to 17 grand. So I could have sold half, but instead I actually just closed out the position entirely, and I'll probably re-enter this tomorrow. I closed out MU, which you can see we had a symmetrical triangle. I posted that on January 14th. I still think that MU has a lot of room to run too. You can see same situation up over our 200 SMA. We'll have a squeeze that's forming here. We get this breakout, and the only reason that we're taking it is because it's just hitting our criteria. It's very simple, right? Sideways consolidation, waiting for the breakout, in an uptrend. We're not going against the trend here. Take profit at a higher high of 89. Stop loss set down here at $79, or a break at 79. And I took profit this morning just because the options that I was in on, I was up a lot. My best case would be tomorrow we pull back down to like 84 and I get back in, but I just don't think that's going to happen. And then I closed out DraftKings, which was a huge trade. I actually hit it again today, but I closed out DraftKings, which we've been posting and talking about on X for a very, very long time. The first trade that we had this big push up, pulled all the way back, and I was waiting a long time for this entry. And we saw this big push down, got bought up. This is our bullish order block, pull back down into the middle of the order block, massive rip off the block, and now we're moving up into $40. So if you guys want to learn how to trade like this, you want to learn how to perform technical analysis like this, hit the second link in the description, get access to all of my videos, all my courses, get access to all of our trading bots, all of our premium indicators like the one you see here, teaching you guys how to draw out order blocks, liquidity zones, all of those. Access to all my trades is over there. It's the second link in the description, guys. Thanks for all of the support. I'll see you next time, and I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.